Next guest says, forget it. Just cut the gas tax. Congressman Jason Chaffetz joining me right now. You know, it's funny, Congressman, when I was looking at how much people pay in combined taxes and excise fees and the like, including the federal tax across the board, it is a big chunk of that per gallon price. We're going to go through some of the more prominent ones, but you're saying take a temporary or permanent tax holiday?
Yeah, fundamentally, the federal government should not be doing this tax. Really, what we should be doing is leaving it to the states. We don't need to have some big need for some intrastate new highway system that's going to come about. Cut out the middleman. Let the states deal with it.
Yeah, well, the states are, though. And in the case of California, New York, they take a big chunk of it. I don't know if you've been on a lot of their roads, but they still need a lot of repairs. But I'm just wondering if the states would pick up the slack and hike taxes even more.
Yeah, but you would ultimately cut out the middleman. We don't need literally the tens of thousands of people that you have at the Department of Transportation. You can literally fill the Rose Bowl full of Department of Transportation employees. We don't need them to build and maintain roads in Utah or Connecticut or Florida, wherever it might be.
Where does that money go, Congressman? The money that we fork over in that 18.5-cent federal gas tax. Is it for roads and bridges?
Well, partly, but it also goes to trails and other things that have nothing to do with gas tax. You also have a bureaucracy that's setting all sorts of standards and doing all some other types of compliance issues. Cut out the middleman. Let the states do it.
Okay, but the states do have a lot of high taxes. I mentioned California, New York, Hawaii, Connecticut, some of these others. So obviously, I know as congressman, you would have no call or discretion over what those states do. But let's say you do get the Fed out of the picture here and remove the 18.4 cents. That's about a third of how much gasoline prices have soared since the first hint of Middle East unrest, going back to Tunisia. So then what do you do?
Well, look, we have a systemic problem. When we're dependent upon Libya and Nigeria and Venezuela, and they affect the quality of life here in the United States of America, we have a problem. Back in 1977, we created the Department of Energy that was supposed to help wean us away from our dependence on foreign oil. It's gotten almost double worse.
Well, those same proponents then, I'm sorry, the same proponents say, well, maybe that's a reason to tap the reserve because it's our oil, it's here now, it's in our border.
The problem is we have less than 2 months of supply. Think of it as a rainy day fund. We got to tap into that if there's a national emergency, if there's actually, some catastrophic event. We got to solve the long-term problem, like drilling in Anwar and pursuing all. I'm above the, all of the above kind of guy. We got to tap into everything in order to sustain ourselves independently. That should be the goal. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. President
Bush had looked at not tapping the reserve as much as not adding more oil to the reserve. And it had a beneficial psychological effect, Congressman, that there was going to be more oil out there in the open without having to tap the reserve per se. In other words, don't add to the reserve. What do you make of that?
Well, I think over the course of time, we actually probably should add to our reserve because our population's growing, our demands on energy are growing, and this administration, the Obama administration, is doing everything it can to cut off our supply, not only in the Gulf, but out here in Utah, tapping into our resources for natural gas and oil shale and others have been totally cut off by this administration. And it's infuriating because at the same time, now we have something flare up in the Middle East, and we see these rocket rises in gas prices. We can do something about it. We have the energy in our own backyard. We just need to be able to tap into it.
Congressman, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.
Thanks, Neil.
Congressman Chaffetz. All right, well, dissing the Donald, what did this Republican senator just say that has Donald Trump firing off today? So fired off that he's here. And cut the bickering and just get cutting. This debt duo delivering a very